Hello. We are
Good
live.
good afternoon, everyone. How are you today, Angie?
Good, not too bad. Hmm, just a quick reminder that today the not the best. So just in case we lose each other, we'll be back. Okay, but patience is key today.
Yep, absolutely. Welcome, everyone. If you are watching live, like Angie said, because of the high traffic on YouTube and the app we use, we might experience some loss in connectivity. You might not hear us. You might not see us. We're trying everything possible to ensure that doesn't happen. But if it does happen, we apologize in advance. It is something beyond our control, right?
Yeah.
So let's
Yeah.
get into it. If you haven't seen me
Yes.
before, my name is Michelle. I am a teacher in Milano Meravili with Angie. I'm originally from Pakistan and I've been living in Milan for about 3 years now.
Right. And I am Angela, and I am from Nepal, and I have been living here in Milan for the last 5 years. For those of you who don't know, Michelle and me, we work at my English school at Meravili in Milan, and we are really happy to see some of you here. Good morning. I'm Deborah from Rome. Hello, Deborah. Welcome.
Welcome. We're so happy you could be here. Today we are working on a business focused advanced emails. Okay.
Please do introduce yourselves, okay? Just like Deborah did. Please introduce yourselves and let us know where you're watching us from, okay? And Deborah says, thank you. Oh, I love Milan. Oh, and that she misses it.
We miss it too.
Yes, we miss it too.
And we absolutely love Rome. Rome is one of my favorite cities to visit. Every time, right? Every time I visit Rome, I feel like I see something new. Is that the same for you, Angie?
Yes, Rome is like living in a movie, you know, for me.
Yeah.
It's amazing like that.
Yep, it's breathtaking.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we launch into this advanced emails managing a crisis. Would you like to read, Angie?
Yes, let's go ahead. Okay, so in this business activity, what we're going to learn is structuring for clarity, useful adverbs of degree, using as for structure. Okay, so if you have a question, please don't it so that we can clarify any doubts that come to you. Okay. All right.
Fantastic. Okay, a mountain of email. Would you like to read the questions, Angie?
Yes, I will. How much email do you receive daily, weekly? So Michelle, how much email do you receive daily or weekly?
Given these days, because of the coronavirus and we're all working remotely, I receive about 10 emails a day. Weekly, I would say okay, I think 5 a day and about 50 on a weekly basis. And you, Angie?
Yeah, more than usual. Yeah. Well,
Definitely.
yeah. So I don't receive a lot of emails because I usually use just other forms of communication. But
Mhm.
yes, for work, it should be an average of 4 to 5 a day, right, Michelle? I think
Yeah.
nowadays from work, this is the average that we're getting. Clara Acello says, "Hi, I'm Clara from Parma." Hi, Clara. Good to have you here with us.
Okay, this is a good question. How well written are the emails you receive?
All right, so the emails that I receive are very well written, obviously, because we are working at an English school, and so obviously we take the time, we make the effort to write a good email. So yes, I think
Mhm.
amongst us teachers, we get very well written emails, I have to say.
Absolutely. Very clear, very good emails, very well written emails.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Deborah says, in my previous job, I used to receive about 50 to 60 emails per day in a busy period. But in my current job, I don't receive emails, only 5 to 10 per day. Oh, so it's really gone down.
That's fantastic.
Okay, and Clara says, I usually receive a lot of emails, about 30 to 40 emails in a day. And during this quarantine period, they are doubling. Oh, yes, I can imagine.
Wow, that's
Yeah. Oh, my
crazy.
God. Yeah, that's a
What
lot.
do you do,
That is a
Clara?
mountain of emails.
Absolutely. What do you guys do, Clara and Deborah?
Yeah.
Which field or which industry are you in?
Yes, let us know.
Mm-hmm. Angie, according to you, what makes a good email?
Okay. So a good email definitely should be structured well. Okay.
Mm,
So that is important. Maybe a very good, nice greeting and a nice ending, okay, and the structure, the vocabulary used, depending on whether it's a personal email or is it's for business purposes, and also maybe the overall texture of the language should be acceptable, should be good, I think, right?
yep, absolutely. I agree.
Mm-hmm,
You have to address it properly. So
mm-hmm,
you have to know who you're writing to. And I think
mm-hmm,
it's like you said, one of the most important factors to consider when you are writing an email is to understand your audience, right? Are you writing it
absolutely.
to a senior person in the organization? Are you writing an email to a colleague who you're
Mm-hmm,
friends with? Are you writing it to someone
mm-hmm,
externally, meaning outside of the company? Definitely makes a difference. Um, so
mm-hmm.
here we have Deborah. She
Yeah,
says she's an accountant for a small firm. Fantastic. And Clara
very
says
nice.
she works in the International
Mm-hmm.
Rights Center of a publishing house. So every day I have to deal with international
Uh-huh.
partners. So the stuff is very useful for me. Fantastic. We're so happy
Very
that even in this period of
good.
doom and gloom, we can help you.
Yes, absolutely. Right. So you find it difficult to get a clear idea when you read some email. Why or why not? Michelle, any emails that come to mind?
Absolutely. When I get
Mm-hmm.
bureaucratic emails, in terms of some processes or procedures I have to follow, I usually don't
Mm-hmm.
understand anything. And it takes about 30 minutes of further research for me to understand what they want me to do or how they expect me
Mm-hmm.
to fulfill my obligations.
Yes, absolutely right. And of course, the play of words and every word
Mm,
having a specific meaning. It's very important to go through every detail, especially when you're reading a business email or, as you said, a mail from the bureaucratic areas. It's very
mhm.
important that way. Okay, great. Deborah
So,
says,
mhm,
important for English. Yes, I think so too. Yeah, nowadays English is required in every field here now in Italy as well. So it's very important that we improve our language every day. Yeah.
absolutely.
Hmm.
Clara is
Hmm.
really happy for the YouTube classes. Thank you, teachers. You're welcome. We're so happy you're joining us.
Yes, very nice.
And
Hmm.
keep interacting, guys, because the lesson is so much better when you guys contribute. Tell
Yeah.
us your thoughts, ask us questions. So, how do
Yeah.
you filter your email, Angie? When you like these days, we're receiving many emails. How do you manage your emails?
Mm-hmm.
Do you use a filter?
Yes, I do. I just prioritize like work, and then you get a lot of um, those social emails as well for social networking,
Right.
advertisements. So yeah, I try to segregate them. I try to categorize them into various folders. That's how I organize my emails. And what about you? What do you do?
That's what I do as well. Obviously,
Mm-hmm.
work takes priority. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
usually, my top priority is work, and I have a separate folder for that. And I do receive a lot of emails from social media
Mm-hmm.
and other sites that I subscribe to, such as my online newspapers.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, the New York Times, I usually get
Mm.
an email every day with the highlights. So, yep.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
Oh,
of course,
we're in the same boat.
yep, exactly. And then we have our spam or junk email, right?
Yeah, true. A lot of them.
A lot of that, and that
Yeah.
those emails are usually from companies trying to sell you something, trying to convince
Hmm.
you to register for something or buy something.
Hmm. True. Yeah. And like nowadays, every shop you go to, they ask you for, your email address so that they can send you some mail, and and we give it to them. So they send us their ads and so on. We get a lot of mail, a lot of junk mail or spam, as
Exactly.
Michelle said. Okay. Mhm.
And I think
Promotional emails.
promotional emails also go into the same
Hmm.
category of spam or junk. It's like you said, right? When you register, you buy something, you get an email every time they have an offer for the next 15 years.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. And Deborah says, me too. I think it's really important to organize mails because you could lose something. So I divide mails between providers, teams, or subjects. Oh, good idea.
Fantastic.
Very good idea. Hmm. Clara says, I usually receive a lot of social trash emails, but I don't read them, or at least just of that. Okay, or I don't read them, or at least just of the shops that I'm interested in. Okay, yeah, me
Okay,
too. Sometimes I just browse through some of them. Yeah.
so just a few corrections in terms of the language. We would
Hmm.
say, but I don't read them all, or
Hmm.
only
Hmm.
those of
Hmm.
the shops that I'm interested in.
Okay.
Okay, Angie, would you like to
Nice.
read?
Yes. Okay. So now we're going to look into a case study, Hopscotch Films. So Hopscotch Films is a film production company based in Sydney, Australia. They are currently working on several major projects with partners in Europe. The management receives a lot of badly written emails internally and has devised a to improve the writing skills of its workforce so that messages can be relayed more efficiently. How might Hopscotch approach this problem? In my previous job, I used to get a lot of very badly written emails. Yes, and it was, I mean, a pity, because sometimes we couldn't understand what was being what they meant to say.
Right.
So, yeah.
Absolutely. When you study communication, they tell you that a message has two parts. First, you need to send the message, and the person has to receive it for
Yeah.
it to be complete. But if you say one thing and you are unclear, the message is not going to be received correctly, right?
Exactly.
And therefore, it's an
You might
incomplete communication.
exactly, or you might be misunderstood. Yeah. So that could lead to another problem.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it's very important.
Okay, so how might Hopscotch approach this problem? Clara and Deborah, what do you think? In the meanwhile, Angie and I are going to discuss it. I think
Yes.
a training program is definitely a good place to start.
Yes. Yes.
Um,
Just a few. You know, it doesn't have to be a very long training session. Just
mhm,
something to quickly, let the workforce, let every individual know how an email is written. For example, you're talking about structure. You're talking about maybe bullet points for clarity, and opening and closing the subject. For example, the priorities
mm,
should be in order. Points. It could make a big difference.
I
What
agree. I
about you,
think
Michelle? What
first
do
and
you think?
foremost, I agree completely. I think first and foremost,
Mm-hmm.
definitely, first you need to explain structure. You need to have
Mm-hmm.
a professional opening, a professional closing,
Mm-hmm.
and you need
Mm-hmm.
to focus on the content. Secondly, I would say
Mm-hmm.
know your audience. So, are you going to write in an
Mm-hmm.
informal or formal register? Thirdly,
Exactly.
I would definitely also talk about the subject because very often the
Mm-hmm.
subject line can be
Mm-hmm.
misleading,
Absolutely. Exactly. It's very
right?
important. And
And
people also prioritize according to that, right?
absolutely,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. I would
Mm-hmm.
also say, in terms of content, I would provide case studies or situations to the
Mm-hmm.
workforce, to the people being
Mm-hmm.
trained, and ask them
Mm-hmm.
to write an email responding to it.
Yeah.
And then I would, the same way we do it in class, I would gather together the most common errors and explain those and say
Yeah.
why we don't do it
Mm-hmm.
and what we do instead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And if you're writing an internal email, the use of jargon could be
Mm,
important. And then you have to keep in mind if you're writing outside the office, if you're writing to an external entity, the use of jargon could be very confusing. They may not be related to your industry directly. So the use of jargon could be very, very confusing. All right. Okay. So Clara says that I think that it's important to organize a training class and show them the typical and mandatory fields of the mail. The introduction and the conclusion of an always. Good point there, Clara.
okay, let's look at this email and figure out what we can take from it.
Mm-hmm.
In the meantime, we have Clara. She says, I reckon that the most difficult part is the content of the email. So he should teach the
Mhm.
technical words that can be helpful to write a good email.
Yeah.
Deborah says, in my
Mhm.
opinion, the idea to create a training is really important. During these courses, they should explain how to write the mails,
Mhm.
synthetic or direct, with introduction,
Mhm.
core, and conclusion.
Hmm.
Okay, so hopefully we'll be
Interesting.
covering both these points, Clara and
Mhm.
Deborah.
Mhm.
Hopefully you'll have your answers. Okay, would you like to read, Angie?
Right. Yes, let's go. So, dear Stacy, to begin with, I am writing to inform you that the printer has once again broken down. Oh no. It had been behaving extremely well this week, but Mark heard some fairly strange noises coming from the machine this morning, and now it has stopped working completely. What's more, we are utterly overworked with the film launch on Monday, and we scarcely have the time. Oh, it's so little. Scarcely have time to look at the problem ourselves. We'd be profoundly grateful if you could come as soon as possible. On another note, the office's use of paper has gone up steeply of late. We'll have to find a solution to that, but that can wait for now. In summary, we need your help as soon as possible. Visit soon, Sid. All right.
Okay, if you have any questions about the vocabulary, please write to us and let us know.
Mm-hmm.
So, what are the two main problems here? This is a internal company email. So they're writing to the IT department, and they have two problems. The first problem is that their printer isn't working, and the second problem is that they're using too much paper. Right? The first
Yeah.
problem is urgent, and the second problem is not that urgent.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so the priority is for the broken printer.
Right. And over here we find the adverbs of degree. What is the function of adverbs
Mm-hmm.
of degree? So adverbs of
Mm-hmm.
degree, we talk about, we use them when we want to strengthen or weaken an adjective or a verb, right?
Mm-hmm.
So an adverb of
Yep.
degree tells you how much, right?
Mm-hmm.
For
Mm-hmm.
example, um, I have been consistently eating all day, where consistently is the, it's true.
Yes,
The only
that's
time I'm
exactly
not
what I've been
eating is
doing.
when I'm teaching.
Yes, and that's all of us actually.
True. And consistently is an adverb of degree. It tells you how much, to what degree, right? And in my example, consistently um, is about, consistently tells you that it's something that's happening regularly, right? More often than not.
Mm-hmm.
So similarly, we
Okay.
need to find other adverbs of degree.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay, so
And
if you can,
Angie, mhm.
yes, I can hear you. I lost you there for a second,
Okay,
but now we're back.
okay, fantastic. Okay, so the first
Right,
adverb of
okay.
degree, while Angie and I mark it out, you guys can write to us and
Mm-hmm.
tell us your answers.
Yes, please. Okay. Right, so
Okay,
let's
so the
start
first
off
one,
with behaving. Yeah,
mhm, absolutely. First off, we
extremely.
had extremely.
Okay, good.
Good
Like,
job, Clara.
mhm.
Next, I would say
Then we
fairly.
have, okay, great. Laura says the same.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Fantastic. Good work, guys.
Extreme. Nice.
Scarcely. Fantastic work,
Verbs of
ladies.
degree are coming up.
We also have utterly before scarcely. Profoundly. Fantastic.
Currently,
One more to go.
very nice.
Scarcely
Sleep,
nice.
she says.
And the last one is steeply. Okay, fantastic work, guys. Angie and I are just going to go through the adverbs and explain them to you. I think you
Mm-hmm.
already have a solid understanding, but just to make sure
Mm-hmm.
we understand everything, right? Okay, so when we say
Yeah.
adverbs of degree, tell you the degree to which how much something is happening. Let's look at the first word, extremely, which obviously means
Yeah.
to a very high degree, right? Next, we have the word fairly,
Yes.
which
Yeah.
means a moderate to high degree.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, completely
Yeah.
means is obviously a very high degree. It means totally. Utterly.
Mm-hmm.
Utterly means absolutely, completely, and totally.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So almost a
Scarcely,
synonym. Completely.
absolutely. Scarcely is almost not,
Mostly would be
right?
almost, yeah, very low. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, almost not.
The connection is getting worse.
It is.
Oh my God.
Then we have
You're breaking up.
profoundly. Then we have profoundly. Profoundly is deeply. And the last
Profoundly?
one we have
Deeply, yeah.
deeply and steeply. Um, steeply is a good word, and we usually use it when something, a very large or a sudden amount. We usually use it for prices. For example, prices of
Mm-hmm.
hand sanitizers have risen steeply by a very large amount. You can also use the adverb
Okay. Right.
steeply to talk about graphs. For example, if you are describing a graph or you are describing a trend in the market, you can always say this has gone down steeply or come up steeply.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys have any other questions, of course, please write to us. Okay, here we have some more adverbs of degree. So we're going to go through each one of them individually. You guys can write to us and tell us what you think it means as well. First
Yes.
up,
And
we have
don't forget to number your answers.
absolutely. First up, we have is particularly. Now, this is interesting because I know Italians often use this word incorrectly, right? So when we use the word particularly, we are talking about a higher degree than usual. For example, I don't particularly
Mm-hmm.
like, um, I like everything. I don't particularly like winter.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So when I say
Okay.
that, it means a higher degree than is usual or average. Or I can use particularly to give special emphasis to a point. Like, I particularly asked you to call me. I specifically asked you to do something. which is what my mother would tell me.
Exactly.
I particularly asked you
Specifically.
to call me. Absolutely, and you
Why
didn't.
didn't you? Why didn't you?
Because I was teaching.
Excuse.
I do. Okay, then we have profoundly. We've discussed that. Deeply.
Mm-hmm.
Extremely.
Yeah.
We discussed
Mm-hmm.
that. Fairly. We discussed that.
Mm-hmm.
Completely. We discussed
Mm-hmm.
that. Considerably. Okay, so
Uh-huh.
considerably comes from the word consider, and it means by a notably
Mm-hmm.
large amount. You know, something that has increased or decreased by an amount which is very obvious.
Oh, nice way of explaining that, Michelle.
Thank you. Here we have scarcely. We know what scarcely means.
Mm-hmm.
Steeply, we've spoken
Mm-hmm.
about that. Gradually. Gradually means slowly.
Yeah, opposite of steeply, I would say.
Absolutely. You're correct, Angie. That's a
Mm-hmm.
good comparison.
Yeah.
And here we have practically. Practically means almost.
Mm-hmm.
So practically and scarcely could be opposites, right? Because scarcely means almost not,
Yeah.
and practically means
Mm-hmm.
almost there.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. Very nice.
Okay, if we've
All
missed
right.
anything,
So,
please let us
yeah. And let's start filling up those blanks.
know.
Okay,
Let's
guys.
get
So,
to it.
write down your answers. Number one, and then write your answer. Then number two, write your answer. Okay, so that we know which sentence. So, are there
Absolutely.
particular months where you have dash enough time to films? Now, that you can have 2 or 3 right answers in each case. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so and it would still make it would still be grammatically correct. All right. So number one, Deborah says, are there particular months where you have fairly enough time to watch films? Yes. And Clara says considerably. So for this, so are there particular months where you have considerably enough time to? I think both the
Mm-hmm.
answers are correct. Michelle, what do you think?
Yep, I agree.
Okay.
I think,
Yeah.
but I would use
Yeah.
I would use considerably more naturally than I would use
Considerably.
fairly. Where you have
Okay.
considerably more time, or I would also use the word particularly more time. You know?
Particularly more time. Yeah. But I wouldn't use extremely.
No, this is true.
No, it wouldn't.
Okay, so one
It
thing I would say
wouldn't.
particularly more time. I don't know if I would say particularly enough time.
Okay.
Okay, number two.
Is there a film that you found dash moving? Number two.
What do you guys think the answer will be? So this is interesting, right? When you say, "Is there a film that you found blank moving?" Angie, what do you think they mean when they say moving over here? Because they're not
Moving.
actually
Did it? No. It means that touched you. You know, that touched your you sensed, that you felt some sort
emotional.
of reaction to it. Exactly, some emotion. Okay, so this is what that means. Okay, so is there a film? Maybe we can help them. What do you think? Michelle?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
I would
Okay.
say, is there a film that you found profoundly
Oh, wait,
moving?
wait. Profoundly moving. Okay, so see, Deborah
Fantastic.
saying extreme, and that's very good, yes. And Clara says extremely and scarcely.
Okay, we could say
Extremely moving.
extremely, but we wouldn't
Yeah?
use scarcely.
Scarcely, yeah. No, we wouldn't use that.
No, we wouldn't,
Okay.
because when we use the word scarcely, we talk about quantity, right?
Yeah.
There's scarcely enough food.
Mm-hmm.
There's scarcely enough hand sanitizer. So that's how I would use scarcely.
I like the examples. It's all about hand sanitizers.
That's all I'm thinking.
Exactly. All right. So, what about number 3, girls? Can you think of a film that contains dash nothing but violence? Hmm.
I would say practically nothing but violence.
Okay. Practically nothing but violence. Yeah. Or I would,
Right?
or
So
maybe we
almost
can use.
but
Yeah, I think yeah,
violence.
that would be, yeah, practically nothing but violence. Okay.
Number four, is there a film location that
Okay.
you are fond of?
Okay. So something. All right. So Clara's asking if the film doesn't move me, which is the adverb that I can use? Hmm.
Okay, so this
What would
question
be?
is a different question, right? The question is
Mhm.
there a movie that you found particularly moving? So the question is different.
Mhm.
But if you want to talk about a
Okay.
movie that you were not impressed with, you can say, I was
Mhm.
barely moved
I was
by,
barely moved. Okay.
or I was hardly moved.
So Deborah asks the meaning of fond of. Okay, to be fond of something is to like something. Okay, to show, uh, um, to favor something, a likeness for something. Okay,
Hmm.
I was barely moved by the movie. Okay, that's nice. That's good. Okay.
Okay. For
Uh,
question four,
mhm.
um,
Okay.
for question three, Clara says, can you think of a movie that contains completely nothing but violence? I wouldn't say
Mhm.
completely nothing. I would definitely say
No.
practically nothing.
Mhm. Mhm.
Because if you think about the word that would substitute it, I would substitute it with the word almost, right? And
Yeah,
almost
exactly.
means
So almost
practically.
nothing but. Mhm. Yeah, absolutely.
You could use
Okay, so where are we
completely,
now?
but as a native speaker, it wouldn't be natural.
Yeah.
Okay, number five. Um,
Well, just number 4.
mhm,
So Deborah says, is there a film location that you are particularly fond of? Very good.
very
Completely
good.
fond of, steeply fond of. Okay, so as Michelle said earlier, steeply is usually we use it usually for statistics, graphs, and so on. So I would not use steeply in this case, and I wouldn't use completely as well for the same reason that we explained in number 3. Okay, so not it's not the whole thing, it is almost. Okay, all right.
Extremely
So,
fond of, completely fond of, considerably.
okay.
Yeah, Clara, good job. All for work. You can say extremely fond of. Again, not
Mm-hmm.
completely. You could say it, but
Not
again, it
completely,
wouldn't
yeah.
be 100% correct. And then you have
Mm-hmm.
considerably. That's correct. You could use considerably.
Yeah, considerably is good, yeah. Okay.
Okay, number
All
5.
right.
In your opinion,
In
which types of film are blank becoming more popular?
becoming more popular. Very
Okay,
nice, both
good.
of them.
Gradually, fantastic.
Gradually. Very good. Perfect. Very good. Number 6.
You could even say
Would you say,
particularly, right?
okay, which types of film?
That
Yeah.
are
Um,
particularly becoming popular. So specifically,
okay, so yeah, specifically. Okay. So number 6, would you say that the cost of rising steeply? Very good. Or
fantastic.
gradually? Yeah. Yeah, both are fine. Great. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. Great. Number 7, what about a film with sets? Okay.
This is a good one because we have a number of possibilities here.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I could
So number
say
7,
scarcely minimal
nine.
practically. I wouldn't say scarcely, right? Because scarcely means almost not. So it is contradicting.
Mm-hmm.
So we could not say,
Okay.
so I don't think we could say scarcely minimum sets. I would actually say extremely minimal
Mm-hmm.
sets or um,
Okay. Yeah. Extreme.
considerably minimal sets. I would definitely not use
Yep.
scarcely and practically. Because again, scarcely means almost not,
Mm-hmm.
and practically means almost.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
You
because
can
then
use
it
it
cancels
here.
each other out, right? Because minimal. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. You can use
Mm-hmm.
practically for number 3, right? Almost nothing but violence. But you can't say
Mm-hmm.
almost minimal sets. Doesn't
Yeah,
make
because
sense.
yeah, it doesn't make sense, right? Hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, here we have another emails.
Mm-hmm.
So, no, it's the same email. Over here we have to do something a little different. Initially, we spoke about adverbs of degree, and now we are looking at sentence adverbials. What is the function of sentence adverbials? So, sentence adverbials are used to mark the conversation. So, what they do, for example, is
Oh,
to give the comment.
guys.
Oh no. Okay, so I'm just going to continue. Sentence adverbials give comment on the sentence. For example, if you say
Leave this
what's more,
studio and I'll back.
okay, so if we say what's more, for example, we're showing that you are going to add something more than you've previously said. So that's the point of these sentence adverbials. They organize your writing and they comment on the sentence. So here we are going to try and find the sentence adverbials in this paragraph. The first one is to begin with, right? Remember we said it's a commentary on the sentence. So but by saying to begin with, you are saying this is my first sentence. I want to start with this. Next, we have what's more. Over here, you are saying that you're adding something more than you added in the last sentence. And last one, on another note,
Okay, I'm
which
back.
shows that you are adding something. Hey, Angie.
Hi. Oh God, the connection. Okay,
So
sentence
what's
adverbial.
more? Yeah. So on another note, shows that you are adding something different from what you said before. Okay. And the last one, in summary, this shows that you are concluding your email. So in summary is a very good word to use. Another word you could say is in conclusion.
Or to recap.
That's a good one to recap. Okay, so now we're going to look at more sentence adverbials. Would you like to read, Angie?
Yes, let's go. Match the adverbial phrases to the correct function. Okay, so we have some adverbials on one side and you have an explanation on the other side. So as a result of, to begin with, consequently, in summary, what's more, on the other hand, for instance, furthermore, in other words, and accordingly. Okay, so we need to know if they are categorized into to sequence chronologically, to express a cause, to show a result, to provide an additional point, to introduce a contrary point, to provide an example. Okay, so as a result of, what would it be? Would it be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6?
So this one is pretty easy, right? As a result of,
so
obviously,
that would be
to show a result.
Exactly. So number 3. Okay.
Next.
To begin with is also very easy.
So you usually write it right at the beginning of your email because you want to show structure and you want to start off with something. So to sequence it chronologically.
Yeah. Consequently, okay, would be anyone?
Right, to show a result. Now, consequently can also be part of number 2 to express a cause. Right? I woke up late and consequently I was late for work.
For work, yeah.
So consequently could be 3 and 2. Okay, in summary, chronological sequence, right? Because you write this right,
Very good.
right at the end.
Very good, Clara. What's more? To provide an additional point. Well done, Clara.
Fantastic. On the other hand, to introduce a contrary point.
Very nice, Deborah.
Right?
Yeah.
Fantastic work, guys. You guys are doing really well. For instance, 6, good job.
To provide an example, very good. Furthermore, number
4. Right? To provide an additional point, another word you could use is additionally.
Yeah.
Moreover. In other words, to provide an example.
Very nice.
Accordingly, the last one is to show a result.
Nice. Very good. Deborah and Clara, very high level students. They do know their stuff, right? Very good.
Absolutely. This was fantastic work, guys.
Yeah, very
so good.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we've actually run out of time. So
Hmm?
we really enjoyed having you girls here. I hope we see you again in another lesson. So well done again. And thank you for coming online with us today. Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Have a fantastic week.